107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowances made for fair use, for purpose such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statutes that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips in the balance of the favor of fair use. Furthermore, I give credit to the original copyright owner. I don't own the rights, or no infringement is intended to the material that has been added to this original content. Welcome to Blended Healing. You know, in my daily research, looking at things that can be discussed as well as tools that can help us to maneuver through some situations in this 3D life. The word that keeps coming up, and I ran across it several times today, was manipulation. Manipulation. So when I looked it up, and this is researched information, I ran across an article that talked about people who are friendly on the surface but manipulative underneath. And what does that mean to us, or us being the target? So here's what it comes across as. They asked a very good question. Could you tell the difference between someone who's genuinely friendly and someone who's being nice to you so they can manipulate you? That is an excellent question, because manipulators are incredibly hard to spot, especially when they're masking their intentions with friendly and kind behavior. I know that a lot of us have dealt with our own fair share of manipulators in our life. But what they come across as, there are 6 common behaviors that you can watch out for to make sure that you don't get tricked by somebody who is friendly or warm. So number 1, they always agree with you. I know, right? They always agree with you. Have you ever met someone who just agrees with you with everything that you say? They laugh at all your jokes and nod along with every word and say it's like they're your biggest fan. They say yes. They're your yes people, right? And it feels good to have somebody who can agree with you all the time. So what's the problem with that? Here's the deal. Being super agreeable can be a sneaky way for someone to win you over. In the beginning, they seem like the best friend that you never had. You guys just click, right? Although it looks and feels like true friendship, People like this have mastered the art of making friends quickly so that when the time comes, they can get their way. Next time that you noticed that a new friend or a new acquaintance is always agreeing with you, I need you to pause and ask yourself if this is genuine or is there something else going on. All right. Number two, they shower you with affection and attention. So when it comes to being in a romantic relationship, this is known as love bombing, like the bomb, you know, where a new partner seems like they can't get enough of you and they smother you with love. But make no mistake, you don't have to be romantically involved for someone to shower you with affection and attention. So look at it this way. You got a new friend, right? Who seems really, really friendly. They'll check in with you throughout the day via text. They might like or comment on your recent social media posts to show support, and then they invite you to hang out a lot, right? And it seems like the friendship goes from 0 to 100 very quick. You just met and now you're best friends. But sometimes this is intentional. It's a common tactic that manipulative people use. They make themselves a big part of your life quickly, which is encourages you to let your guard down, making it easier for them to control you. New friendships are great, but just like in a romantic relationship, if things are moving very quickly, you need to pump your brakes and ask yourself, why? Number three, they flatter you with compliments. We all appreciate a nice compliment, right? Every once in a while. I talked about that the other day. It's normal for friends to compliment each other. It's a nice gesture and can make someone's day if you do that, right? But sometimes manipulative people use compliments as a way to make you feel secure around them. Okay? Some people can be a master manipulator and use their charm to overuse of compliments were tactics to use to fool people or suspecting victims. A compliment here and there is fine, but if you start to realize that someone is constantly flattering you, take a moment to consider if it could be more than just a genuine admiration. Woo! I see that a lot. Number four, they overdo it with physical affection. Is there anything more comforting than a warm hug from a friend or a loved one, right? When you think about it, whether it's a pat on the back or an encouraging squeeze of the shoulder or a soft reassuring touch on your forearm, it's not unusual for friends to show affection through touch. And over time, it can make you feel closer and deepen your bond. In fact, research shows that hugging can release large quantities of oxytocin, the human pair bonding hormone, right? However, if you find someone is always showing you physical affection, it might be a tactic to create a false sense of closeness. Manipulative people Know that if you feel close to them, it'll be easier for them to control you and get what they want from you. Hmm. Number 5, they offer strategic kindness and generosity. If one person, right, befriends you, right? Like on the first day, like you meet them and they befriend you automatically. You're grateful for that. And if you have a lot of things in common, then it seems very easy. Sometimes they'll come up and give you small little gifts like flowers or congratulating you on a task or something that you have done. It can make you feel at ease and make you feel as though you have such a great new friend, right? Who's in your corner. But as time goes on, you start to notice a pattern, right? It wasn't only the one benefit from the kindness of that person and their generosity. Whenever they need something from you, they're kind and generous, right? At first. That way, it'll be a much harder for them to say no after they have been so kind to you. Do you know anyone who shows kindness and gives gifts often? Maybe you're genuinely kind and there's nothing in it for them. But look closely. If the gift comes with strings attached, or only when they need something from you, that's strategic generosity and classic behavior of a manipulative person. Number 6, they overshare quickly. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where someone you don't know that well is confiding in you and looking for your advice on a personal matter? They could be going through something at home or need some advice about a problem at work and they come to you with it. Typically, when someone shows you emotional vulnerability like that, it suggests that they trust you and that you developed a strong bond. It feels good to be trusted and encourages you to show your vulnerability as well, right? But be cautious. Because if it feels like this is a person is oversharing very early in your friendship or relationship, it could be a ploy to make you open up and share your secrets too. It's a tactic. It's a tactic that manipulative people like to use. Because if they can get you to open up, they can gather valuable information that they can use against you later to get what they want. Always remember, before sharing too much, ask yourself, do I know this person well enough to trust them with this information? Finally, although they may seem friendly on the outside, some people are often using sneaky tactics to manipulate you. Emotional manipulation is rooted in your trust and care for the other person, which is why they often go to these lengths to create the illusion of real friendship. Watch out for these behaviors and trust your instincts. If something feels off, take a step back and assess the situation. If they're a true friend, they'll understand your desire to slow things down. And if they're a manipulator, you'll stop them in their tracks. It's always better to be safe than sorry. Ashe, Ashe. When I come back, we're going to talk about another phase of manipulation. Let's put you up on game. Further into my research, how do you know if you're dealing with a highly skilled manipulator? This is research information. There is a fine line between a persuasive influencer and a manipulative person. Manipulation, unlike influence, isn't about offering choices. It's about pulling strings from behind the curtain to get what one wants, right? Okay. How can you tell? Number one, they're always playing the victim. Manipulators are experts at playing the victim card. Why? Because it's an effective way to gain sympathy and control the narrative. This tactic involves painting themselves as the innocent party, regardless of the situation or their involvement. Their stories often involve them being wronged, mistreated, or misunderstood by others. By always playing the victim, they manipulate others into siding with them, often leading to an uneven power dynamic. But remember, everyone has their share of troubles. If someone is constantly portraying themselves as a victim, you might just be dealing with the manipulator. Number two, they twist your words. Manipulators have a knack for twisting words. Sometimes you'll have a friend, right? And whenever you have a disagreement with them, they distort your words, making it seem as if you are the one at fault. They can take your statements out of context and use them to their own advantage. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time for you to catch on what's happening, but using your own words against you creates confusion and self-doubt. And that's a classic manipulation technique. If you find yourself often misunderstood or misquoted, take note. You might be dealing with a highly skilled manipulator. Number three, they exploit your weaknesses. Manipulators are like detectives. They have a knack for uncovering your insecurities and exploiting them. The truth is, manipulators often spend a considerable amount of time studying those around them. This isn't because they're genuinely interested in getting to know you. Instead, it's a calculated move to identify your weaknesses and your vulnerabilities. Once they have identified your weak spots, they won't hesitate to use this information to their advantage, whether it's making you feel insecure about a personal flaw or using a past mistake as leverage. Manipulating your weaknesses is a common strategy for these types of individuals. Number four, they make you feel guilty. They make you feel guilty. Guilt is a powerful emotion, and manipulators know exactly how to use it to their advantage. If you find yourself constantly feeling guilty, even when you haven't done anything wrong, You might be dealing with a manipulator. They have a way of turning situations around and making you feel like you're the one who should be apologizing. This is how it works. They might remind you of a past mistake or bring up a sensitive topic to make you feel guilty. This is just another way that they use to gain control and make you do what they want. Everybody makes a mistake. Everybody. So don't let someone use your past against you to manipulate your present. Number 5, they're never wrong. They're never wrong. Have you ever met anybody who admits that they're wrong? Chances are you might be dealing with a manipulator. Manipulators have an uncanny ability to avoid taking responsibility for their actions. They always find a way to shift the blame onto other people. No matter how obvious their mistake is, they'll twist the situation to make it seem like it's not their fault. And that can be very frustrating to deal with since it prevents any form of constructive communication or any type of resolution. Number 6, they're emotionally draining. Relationships should be about mutual respect, understanding, and emotional support. But when a manipulator, it often feels one sided. You find yourself constantly trying to please them to keep the peace. Your feelings are dismissed or they make little of them, right? While theirs is always front and center, you are left feeling exhausted, emotionally drained, and unheard. It's a tough situation to be in, especially when you care about the person. But remember, your feelings matter too. If you constantly feel emotionally depleted after interacting with someone, it could be a sign of manipulation. So take care of your emotional health and don't let anyone make you feel less than what you are worth. Number 7, they gaslight you. Gaslighting is a form of psychological manipulation when a person sows seeds of doubt in your mind, making you question your own memory, perception, or sanity, right? Say, for instance, you're with somebody, right? And they often dismiss your ideals during any time of important meetings or anything like that, right? Only to later present them as their own. They take your shit. And when you confront them about them, they convince you that you're making a mistake and that the idea was really theirs. It's subtle, but yes, disorientating, right? Making yourself doubt your own recollections. This is a common tactic manipulators use to gain power and control. So if you ever find yourself doubting your own experiences or reality, take a step back. You might just be a victim of gaslighting. Number 8, they give you the silent treatment. The silent treatment, also known as stonewalling, is a manipulative tactic often used to gain control in a relationship. When a manipulator doesn't get their way or feels threatened, they might resort to silence, ignoring your calls, your messages, or attempts at conversation. This is done to make you feel anxious, guilty, or even desperate for their attention. Ultimately, it's a passive aggressive way of showing displeasure and exerting control. Communication is key in any relationship, so don't let anyone manipulate you into believing otherwise. Number 9, they make you question your own worth. The most insidious trait of a manipulator is that their ability to make you question your self-worth. They belittle your achievements, undermine your confidence, and make you feel like you're never good enough. This isn't about you, it's about them. It's their way of maintaining control and keeping you in a state of self-doubt. As always, no one has the right to make you feel inferior. Your worth is not determined by someone else's opinion or manipulation tactics. Stand firm in your self-belief. And finally, knowledge is power. Understanding the signs of manipulation is the first step towards protecting yourself from its harmful effects. Manipulators are skilled at exploiting your vulnerabilities, twisting your words, and making you question your worth. But remember, these are tactics designed to control and undermine you. When you're armed with the knowledge, you become resilient. You can see through these tactics and stand up against them. No one No one has the right to control or manipulate you. Your worth is not determined by someone else's actions or opinions. You have the power to set boundaries and demand respect. Take this knowledge and use it to empower yourself. Because when it comes to dealing with manipulators, I bring these topics to you because A, we're entering into a new phase in a new year. And I don't like when I see other people manipulate other people. And it does not feel good to be manipulated. I have a saying there, I always say, because I'm aware of it. My radar is pretty damn good when it comes to shit like that. And I always say, you know, Michelle, you gonna play the game or you just gonna put them on full blast? It depends on what it is. So sometimes I give you enough rope to hang yourself. And then some days I'll be like, yo, today is not the day. I don't feel like being hustled. I don't need that old Harlem hustle shit. Just be straight up. And then that's when I start telling the truth and people get all crunched up. It depends upon which day you catch me on. Whether or not if I let you know the game is up or not. You know what I mean? But I don't like it. And I see a lot of that happening here, not only on this app, but also in real life. And I think it's the worst thing that another person can do to you. So please take this researched information. The information that I got is from the first source is from a source called Hacked, and the writer's name is Kat Harper. And the second one of this researched information I got from uh, gditing.com, written by Tina Fey. And this is for educational purposes. So take what you will, but I figured I would like to bring the real events to you. So at least you could put something else in your toolbox to refer back to if you're feeling some type of way. Always, always, always go by your first instinct, your intuition. Everything after that is ego, and you hear me say that quite often. The ego is uh, the angel on your shoulder and the devil on the other, talking you into something or talking you out of something. Both of them will talk you out of your first instinct or your intuition. If your intuition is telling you something else, go with your intuition because that's divine leading you. That's your guardian angels leading you. Okay? All right. Be well, stay safe. Be well and stay safe. Guard your energy. Protect yourself always. And remember that the divine and the Holy Spirit is here for you to guide and direct you on your journey. Ashe and Deepak.